Hi, I'm your host, Anas Burton.
And I'm Danosh.
This is the Crypto Sheikhs Podcast, the go-to place in Dubai for all you guys looking to learn about crypto and blockchain and how maybe you can change your life and find financial freedom through these digital assets.
Yeah.
Today, what are we talking about?
So a lot of people are coming up to both me and you and asking us about how do you invest in crypto and how do you set up your own wallet or how do you buy crypto or any other currency through the exchanges. So today we're going to talk about how you or your friends or anyone can invest in Bitcoin or any other coin like a sheikh.
Like sheikh, yes.
This is the Crypto Sheikhs. This is the leading podcast in Dubai and the UAE where you, regardless of your skill level, will learn everything from cryptocurrencies to blockchain technologies.
So, it's great to always start by understanding a little bit of the story here, Danosh, you've been, from our last podcast, you mentioned that you started looking into Bitcoin back in 2013 at when, it was priced at that delicious price of $300 and you didn't actually pull the trigger. So you finally did it in 2017 and, curious, how did you make that first start?
Yeah, I unleashed my gun. Bah, bah, bah. So back then there wasn't that many exchanges. There was a few ones, some small, and you had this, what was it called? Mount Gox that went completely bust. They scammed a lot of people on their coins. So obviously it was a bit scary where to invest, how to invest, but now you have some of the exchanges which were quite big back then have become very well established. You have Coinbase that recently did an IPO.
Oh yeah.
For those of you that don't know what an IPO is, they went on the stock market.
Yeah, like going public.
Exactly. So back then, Coinbase was actually the biggest, or I'm pretty sure it was the biggest exchange back then. This was in 2016. So I started registering with them, and the transaction was a little bit challenging because, obviously they have their KYC, and KYC is know your customers. So the other day I had a friend, he asked me, what is a KYC? So the banks or the exchanges, and you're a legal guy, so you know this better than me.
I can tell you all about that, yes. So
So
every day my day is like KYCing someone.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So it means know your customer. They have to know who they're transacting with to abide by money laundering laws, etc. So I went through the process and then I transferred my money from my bank account to my Coinbase account, just like you would do if you're investing in stocks. You have a stock broker. Exactly, and you transfer your money to that broker account, and then you can start trading whatever you want. So that was basically the process. I did that, but back then they were charging quite significant premiums, so fees on the transactions that I was making, and I decided to change my exchange. And changing your exchange, so transferring Bitcoin from one, we're going to talk about what a wallet is, from one Bitcoin wallet to another wallet is very fast and very smooth. Which means basically if you want to send Bitcoin to a friend that has a Bitcoin wallet, and it's not a physical wallet, it's a digital wallet, it's going to be very easy to do that. Yeah. It's going to happen a Bitcoin happens in less than 10 minutes. But other currencies can be instantaneous, pretty much instantaneous. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that. But how did you invest in your first?
Yeah, just like you, for me, I kind of started out in 2018 and Coinbase was obviously the best platform for getting somebody who's quite new to this industry kind of onboarded. And the reason why I think Coinbase is a great start for some people is because you can use your credit card and your Visa card there. Most people might feel a little bit uncomfortable doing a bank transfer, directly to a bank, that is sort of hosted by that, that exchange. And so I started like that, I used my credit card and I think I bought my first Bitcoin when it was around, I think $3,000.
Yeah.
And, it was very smooth. I did have to pay some fees. Mm-hmm. Like I think it was a 2.9% fee on top. So that's kind of more of the disadvantage when you're using your credit card. Mm-hmm. But I quickly realized afterwards, after I'd done a little bit of, buying crypto just using my credit card, I didn't want to keep paying these fees. And this is, I think, what everybody goes through.
Yeah, it's quite expensive.
You'll start off, most of the people I know who started in crypto, they'll start off maybe trying, to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum using their credit card. They'll see that these premiums that they're paying are quite high. They're not really on the spot price.
Who is charging those premiums? Is it the credit card companies or is it the exchange?
Well, obviously, it's various parties in between. You've got the exchange who are charging their premium, and then you've got, of course, Visa, MasterCard, and also the bank in between. There'll be there's an acquiring fee. There are a lot of companies that are sort of sit in between the person, the exchange, and the credit card, who also take some of that money.
So a lot of people are coming up to me right now asking me every day, how do I invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin? What's your advice to these people? Where should they go to get their first cryptocurrencies? And is it safe? That's what they're asking as well. Is it safe to go through these exchanges?
I think the best way to really get comfortable is to really start with Coinbase. I would say my view is you start by building comfort by buying small amounts.
But what about Binance? I believe Binance is an exchange that is currently bigger than Coinbase.
Binance is also another great platform. I definitely agree. Then they also allow you to process transactions using your credit card. I've used Binance, and I'm a big fan of their platform. It works really well. I think my advice generally is you start with that by doing a little bit of you buy a bit on Binance or on Coinbase, and you kind of build that comfort first. That's how it happened for me back in 2018. As you become more comfortable, because every day you sort of see that it's not problematic. It kind of operates similarly to how a broker if you have a stock, with a broker somewhere like, a Charles Schwab or eToro, you can then begin to maybe try and experiment by doing a bank transfer. Yeah. I think the bank transfer is really important at some point, because that's when you'll be able to, avoid those fees.
So basically, in order to avoid the fees, it's better to invest or transfer your money from your bank account directly rather than using your credit card. Yeah. But the credit card is a faster process.
Absolutely.
So that's, if you really want to get into it quickly, you should just use your Visa or MasterCard.
I think it's a good idea to start, let's say $50. Yeah. I always, whenever people ask me, how much should I invest? Look, we're not here to give financial advice, but I don't think it ever hurts to experiment, and experimenting with like $50, that can go down a long way.
For most people, that wouldn't ruin their lives.
It's not going to ruin their lives. You can experiment and see how that kind of works. But let's talk a little bit about, the different exchanges. What does an exchange really do, right? An exchange is really just a platform that connects buyers and sellers, right? So the exchanges that I've used and which I think are reputable, are the likes of Kraken.
Correct.
Binance. There's obviously Coinbase, and in the US you have Coinbase Pro, and these are what I call, I would in the first instance suggest you start with these exchanges, because there's a very specific thing in crypto called there are two types of exchanges. There's the crypto only exchange and the sort of I like to call it it's like the crypto world and the old world kind of exchange.
It's like Robinhood, right? Or
well, it's more the fact that there's some exchanges that do not actually take normal money, as in fiat. And just to be clear, for those people who don't know what fiat means, a fiat is a government currency, right?
Like the US dollar, the Swedish SEK.
Exactly. Those are fiats. Now, there's some exchanges that don't accept fiat, actually. So
you cannot exchange using your own money. You cannot buy crypto with your money.
And the thing is, these exchanges actually function for a big part of the crypto economy, because there are many people who have already kind of left the traditional financial world and are very much, very much invested in this crypto world.
Yeah.
So they have large amounts of maybe stable coins. We'll talk about what stable coins are, but they have large amounts of non-fiat currencies, which they then exchange on a daily basis. But that's not really where, a newcomer should. So like me, I didn't understand this when I first came in. And, I remember seeing this one exchange, I think it was BitTrue. And BitTrue is like an XRP-based exchange. And I jumped in there and I was like,
XRP is Ripple for those that don't.
Yeah. We'll get into that. We'll be talking about all these different currencies. But I saw this exchange, and for me, it was challenging because I realized, I can't actually join this exchange because I don't have enough crypto to be in this exchange, and they don't accept fiat. So I think it's really important for people who are learning about crypto now to start with the right exchange.
Okay.
And that to me would be Kraken, Binance, Coinbase.
And what if you're based here in the Middle East and you want to use a local exchange?
Yeah. So that's the great thing. We didn't, back in 2018, we didn't have any of these local exchanges here, and the world has completely changed now in 2020 in this incredible bull market. So we've got BitOasis here and CoinMENA. And what's wonderful about these two exchanges is that they actually allow you to exchange dirhams, AED, directly with crypto. So just this past week or month, actually, I swapped some of my AED. I transferred my AED from my local bank account here to that exchange, and I bought some crypto with it.
Because you don't like to hold cash.
It's hard. It's not easy holding cash.
Especially when the markets are.
Oh, especially when you think that cash isn't worth much anymore.
or won't be worth much moving forward. Yeah. Okay. So some people are asking me, okay, so if I'm holding Bitcoin or Ethereum, how do I transfer those coins? Let's say Ernest. He has a wallet with Bitcoin and he wants to transfer his Bitcoins to Sarah. How can he do that? And how easy or difficult is that?
Yeah. And this is where, so most people are used to cross-border transfers using their banks. And, when you're doing a cross-border transaction, you have to get that IBAN. It's a long number. If you miss a number, oh my God, it's.
Oh my God.
I'm sure you and I've had many stories like that.
I've had nightmares.
You miss a number. This actually happened the other day. It almost happened to me. I was going to send money, and I last minute I noticed a number was missing, and thankfully I didn't press the go ahead on that. But the great thing about crypto is you don't actually have to worry about that anymore, because when you have a crypto wallet, think of it like normally these wallets are on your phone, and they're all on your phone, and they have a QR code which you can easily just scan to get that person's wallet. Now, let's say you and me are not kind of in the same place, so we can't scan that barcode. Well, the thing there is you do have to copy your public key and just share that with the other person.
So basically, I have a serial number
which is specific to your wallet.
To my wallet, and it's like a bank account number basically.
Yeah.
And I will share that with you confidentially, and then you will transfer money to that account.
Correct. That's right.
So it's a very easy and straightforward process.
And what's the best thing about this, remember, is that there's no bank involved.
Correct. It's just
there's nobody who can step in and say, well, why are you sending this? Who is it? Why?
And what's the speed of that transaction? How quickly will you receive the money from me? The Bitcoins.
The Bitcoin, yeah. I mean, it kind of depends on the blockchain. We got to talk about this later on. But different kinds of cryptocurrencies have different kinds of speeds, right? And Bitcoin being kind of the oldest cryptocurrency out there.
The dinosaur of
they say, yeah. I mean, it's still a great currency. Don't get me wrong, but it can be. It's still faster than Swift. Is what I'll say.
Yeah. So basically,
it will take. I think, like you said, 10 to 30 minutes.
I think the average transaction that I read shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. It can sometimes take longer. I experienced it yesterday, but usually it doesn't take more than 10 minutes.
So I love to transfer money using a cryptocurrency called XRP because in my experience, it's probably the fastest cryptocurrency out there in terms of movement. It settles on the blockchain in 3 seconds.
Yeah. So that's really fast.
Incredible.
That's pretty amazing. So I can basically send money to someone in Zimbabwe in 3 seconds.
I mean, you tell me if your cross-border transfer has ever been that fast.
No, never. Yeah.
And you're forgetting the best part. How much does that transfer cost?
Exactly. I mean, the banks are robbing me of fees. Literally, I'm paying like hundreds and hundreds of dollars in transaction fees every month to the banks.
So I made a transfer recently to Europe, to France. It was about $3,000 to $4,000, and the transfer cost me about $50. And the reason why was I had to pay exchange fees because I had dirhams, and then on top of that, the bank charged me the transfer fees.
Yeah.
Now, what's great about when you're on board with an exchange, right, is that, for example, in Kraken, you can actually swap your US dollars for euros there at the spot price, or I think for yen and some other currencies. In the case of CoinMENA and BitOasis, you can swap your US dollars for AED, right, or your Bitcoin for AED. So you don't have to pay such a large premium like you would with your bank in converting currencies, right? That's the first part. The second part then is if you use the right cryptocurrency, like XRP in my experience, or XLM, some of these other ones that are on very efficient blockchains, the cost of that transaction, you won't believe me, is half a cent.
Wow.
And that is, my friend, that is light years ahead of what you're paying.
So the speed is light years ahead, speed of light, and the fee is just minimal in comparison.
$40, what can you buy with $40?
Yeah,
Think about that.
I can buy a lot of ice creams with $40.
And $40, imagine you're a guy that does a lot of cross-border transactions every year. Now imagine you're a company that does a lot of international transactions. That can really quickly go up big time.
So basically, the banks are a little bit like, because I see this money as my candy money, and they're basically robbing me of my candy. That's how I'm feeling. I am quite a bit upset now that we're talking about.
I mean, that $40 could be buying some extra Bitcoin.
Yeah, or you can just give it away to charity. I don't want to give it to the banks.
Precisely.
So anyways. A lot of people also want to know, once I've transacted in the Bitcoin, once I have it, if I want to pull it out, I want to make it turn it, let's say I need money tomorrow to buy something. If I can't buy it with that Bitcoin, can I get it back in fiat? Can I withdraw it?
Absolutely. Now, I will say it's not always the most straightforward process, but this is the price you have to pay for being early, and I do believe we are still early in this industry. My view is that in the future, this won't be an issue.
Correct. So there's a lot of US banks now that's going to start adopting cryptocurrencies. So basically, you would just be able to transfer from your exchange wallet to your bank wallet instantly. So you wouldn't have to have that time it takes to withdraw it. And usually it's the time it takes for a traditional bank to bank transaction, which is 3 to 5 working days.
I actually bank with a bank in Switzerland that allows, they actually take crypto. They're a legitimate bank with a financial license in Switzerland. I can send them Bitcoin and immediately convert that to euros.
That's amazing.
And then use their credit card
to pay,
to spend it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of these neobanks like Revolut and even PayPal now you can
exactly
buy.
So actually for most people now, it's actually a fantastic time to be kind of looking into this, because in our day, well, for you even in longer, back in 2018, there were none of these things.
Yeah.
You couldn't, there was, to even conceive that you could spend your Bitcoin is inconceivable.
Yeah.
But let's go back to how they would withdraw. It's quite straightforward as well. So let's take, on Kraken, you've got your Bitcoin, right? You've made let's say you've made a bit of a profit on your Bitcoin. You bought it at 50,000. It's managed to rise up to 55. And you kind of want to take some of that profit home and, spend it in your life somehow, right?
Spend it on a new Lambo.
Buy a Lambo or, buy your girl a Birkin. But what I say is it's very simple. You can on that exchange, convert that Bitcoin by selling it for dollars, right? Then normally, in the case of Kraken, for example, they have a custody holder called Etana Custody.
Exactly. That's for US dollars.
The US dollars, but I think they process. Oh, okay. For US dollars, yeah, Etana Custody. So if you have US dollars and you want to withdraw that, well, it's very simple. You convert it into US dollars by selling your Bitcoin on that exchange for US dollars. There's a direct pair, a USD BTC pair, and they have USD pairs with all the other cryptocurrencies there.
It's a little bit like exchanging dollars for euros.
Just like when you go to the airport and you want to buy travel money. How do you do that?
Yeah, you give a currency, you get another currency. It's the same thing.
It's exact. What is important to understand is that cryptocurrencies, they shouldn't be seen as like stocks, because they should be seen as like other currencies.
Exactly.
So you can convert now your US dollars, your Bitcoin for that USD, and then immediately just withdraw it to your USD bank account. Now that might take a couple days because you have to process it through SWIFT.
Yeah.
Here in the MENA region, well, in Dubai specifically, you can do this with AED. I use BitOasis. I've converted recently some crypto back into AED. I wanted to take some profit. And I've withdrawn it to my bank account. It was instantaneous.
Yeah.
No issues at all.
That's amazing. So just to wrap up and summarize what we discussed. So basically we talked about, how you can buy your first Bitcoin, which exchanges that you can have a look at, how to register. The process is pretty straightforward. And if you wanna exchange your money to crypto, how you can do that on the exchange and how you can withdraw. Was there anything else that you would like to mention to the listeners?
No, I think that's a great summary. Once I think you get onboarded, my hope is from this you begin. Whoever's listening in, you guys start experimenting. Maybe you play around a little bit with your, you start buying a little bit with your Visa card, your Visa MasterCard. And then maybe you take that step forward. You make that first bank transfer of $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be that much. It could be even $100 to $200 if you have that. And you start experimenting with that. What I would also suggest is you try both ways. You also withdraw some.
Yeah.
To really help you understand and feel comfortable, you have to feel that your money isn't at risk. And that was very important to me. So whenever I bought something, in the beginning, I instantly also withdrew some of that money to test that it actually works without any problems. I've never faced any problems in that regard. So after that, I feel that I'm hoping, we can start seeing you guys feeling more comfortable.
Yeah, and we will share the links. We will share all the links to the exchanges, the websites that we talked about, in the description of the podcast.
Yeah, the show notes.
Yeah, so please check the descriptions and we will show you, and if there's any questions you have, please share them in the comment section.
Absolutely. So I hope you enjoyed that podcast, that episode. Please follow us on Instagram at Crypto Sheikhs _. I think it's right here.
Yeah, and on Twitter as well.
On Twitter. And subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple, iMusic, Overcast. We're on all the places where you get your podcast.
And check out YouTube if you want the video content as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Take it easy.
Take care. Bye.
Booyah.
Kasha.